everybody, what the fuck is up? Coming at you live from 2025. And option number 2 is 2025, eat lots of chive. Alright, you let me know which one of those you're going to use. I have something I think really quite touching today I'd like to share with everyone. So this was, I have an external hard drive full of fan fiction going as far back as when I was I would guess 12, 11. And I think this one is really important to share in these trying times because it's about two bisexuals finding love with each other when they failed in love elsewhere. And it is a Sasuke and Sakura cool 500 words. And this, I really remember this one because I remember writing it and being like, oh my god. I'm popping the fuck. I really did it. My wordplay, my prose. Oh my god. Anyways, that was my elbow on the table. It sounded like a fart. So, really, we're back at it again with Naruto fanfiction. I believe this was written after Boys Will Be Boys, but don't quote me on that. And I would write stuff like this and I would put it on DeviantArt. Okay. And so it's Sasuke and Sakura, and you would only know that because I think I said Sasu in the title. This is really cool. It's progressive. It allows for queer love to really come out on top when you think all is lost. She gently leaned over his face, her creamy back exposed to his ceiling as her white button-up pooled around her elbows. Her lips brushed the corner of his eye, though he knew they would travel no farther. She laid her cheek on top of his head, though he never mistook it for affection. She pressed her nose into his raven locks and inhaled. He could visualize her delicate ribcage swelling and could imagine the creases in her heart unfolding as she continued to breathe. Her eyes never opened, though he never blinked. So I read some of this to Toma and just skimming it or whatever, just if something jumped out at me. And she said it sounds like Sasuke was going to eat Sakura. The way that I was describing things. But I was really into using my writing. I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to use my symbolism, my adjectives, all of that. And I think that really comes through. She sighed against his head, though content was not the emotion. He never assumed it was. She tried again, holding her breath as if to savor the moment, though which moment he wasn't sure. Or maybe to remind her swelling heart that it wasn't who it should have been, and that this moment wasn't hers. She wasn't the type to pretend anymore, and he wasn't the type to care. With every exhale, he could feel more weight pulling down through the bottom of her sky blue socks. He wondered how she walked anymore. His head stayed pillowed on her pale thighs, and his eyes burned, but he wouldn't blink. Her legs were softer, and the sun had barely brushed them. Her hands were smaller, her fingernails painted a pale green. Her lips were plusher, he assumed, but not as playful. There were differences he counted over and over until his lungs remembered who he was with, and his hands stopped reaching for who he saw when he blinked at all. I was going for that he wished she was Naruto. But I don't think that it sounds like he's talking about her compared to himself. And I actually would really like to see a world where Sasuke refers to himself as sun-kissed oh no, thin lips. That's kind of cool, actually. Thin-lipped Naruto. Anyways, she exhaled again, and the force could have blown down his wall. She was real again, he hoped, and they could wake from their sleepless dream. Her eyelids fluttered open, and she slowly rose away from his torso. She unfurled her back and rested against the heels of her hands, craning her neck to stare at his ceiling. "Thank you," she breathed out, and he was glad. She never apologized, and he would never accept it. He straightened as well, and they sat side by side for eternities, it seemed. The pale column of her throat was never less inviting than now, he thought, as he imagined all of the subdued marks left by a lover, though they faded as he tilted his head, licked his motionless lips. She was never less desirable than now, with all of those memories dripping off her the fuck! She was never less desirable than now, with all of those memories dripping off of her rosy shoulders and onto his quilt. He felt he must look the same amount of unattractive in this moment, with pictures of tanned skin and ocean eyes sliding from beneath his hairline. I was really proud of that line. She slid gently off of his bed and stretched languidly. He followed suit and slid an arm around her waist. She knew their routine and wound herself tighter into his half-embrace, smiling gently at his collarbone. His nimble fingers began slipping the buttons of her shirt together, and she pawed the floor for his pants. God, that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. They dressed each other, as always, and never spoke a word. She rubbed her foot on the back of her ankle and gathered her pale pink locks into a messy ponytail. One day, she mused, adjusting his hair, I'm sure we could fall in love. He shot her a skeptical look, and her glistening lips tilted into a smile. One day. Okay. I think that was really special, and here's why. I was really trying to give, like, my one rule is we never kiss on the lips. We can't make this more serious. Like, that kind of thing. I was really trying to give, like, we found love in a hopeless place because we both, we got dumped. I believe the thought process was that it was Naruto and Hinata, and they had gotten together. But Sasuke and Sakura had both been dumped. And so this one's pretty involved, and you would think like 500 words, you would need more than that to convey that. And it's also, I'm pretty proud that I remember all of this. And this definitely would have been posted to DeviantArt. I think this is really this is like my dream. This was my vision. This was my dream for Sasuke and Sakura. That's how I thought they should have been. They both should have been sad because they couldn't be gay with the people they wanted to, so they had to be gay with each other. And you know, they're rising above their situation. One day they're gonna fall in love. This is really cool. I think it was like, you know, they would come together, nut their brains out, and they made the room stink, and then they put their clothes back on. and then they would just do that, I assume, twice a day to keep the feelings away, the sadness. And that's there's something really beautiful about that. Is it not a tale of triumph? It's a much more adult prose than what I had been doing before this. I think I really wonder how old I was. For sure middle school. This is like, to be honest, I don't think my writing reads too much more differently than this does. Which is crazy to say. I will say, I don't know if I don't think I'm talking about people's locks anymore. That's cool. I was kind of hoping maybe there would be like the Ravenette. Even there was a really long time where, but I mean, you know, do I even use their names? I think I don't say either of their names. So this is it's inviting you to play in the space after reading the title on the posting, like the DeviantArt post. you read the title and you're like, oh, okay, Sasu Saku, I get it. And this is also really funny. I believe this would have been like, I would have to guess that like Mary was like, you want to write Sasu Saku or something? That's bestie since middle school. And my middle school friends, I think they would give me like they would just be like, why don't you write this? And I was like, oh my god, yeah, yeah. And I think that was very sweet. I really didn't like Sasuke and Sakura like that. However, I did write Naruhina Forever, EVA, with a bunch of A's, on the and then XD on the ceiling of my bedroom when I had a loft bed, and I was like in 7th grade. I double checked. Supposedly, maybe I wrote this New Year's Day 2009. If my file properties are to be believed. That is really quite funny. And that would mean that I think I was a freshman in high school. So I don't even think that was middle school anymore. No, it's clicking. It's clicking for me because this is more of an adult I've got, yeah. Because, like, what can you really say? It's like, this is 500 words. Bye.